Hello.
Missed you.
How you doing?
Good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too as well.
Thanks. You look good.
I appreciate that. You know how to get dapper for you.
Oh, I really loved one of the statements that you made in preparation for our time here today. And so I want to read that back to you since it's been a few days since you wrote it, but it's quite powerful. So to begin, I'm going to read your own words to you, and I'm going to ask you to close your eyes so that you can feel the power of your mission. So, in answer to the question, who are the great heroes that you serve and why? Who do you fight for quietly and relentlessly? You say, my great heroes are the coal miners of West Virginia who walk into the earth every day with courage, discipline, and sacrifice so this country can keep moving. They are the backbone of America, yet they work in environments where danger is always present: methane, dust, explosions, and the silent threat of lung disease. They remind me of my grandfather, a World War II veteran, a man who embodied quiet strength and duty. Like him, today's miners carry responsibilities on their shoulder that most people will never understand. They are the men and women I fight for because I have stood where they stand, breathed the same air, and felt the same risks. They deserve better. Any of that changed since you wrote it?
No, I still feel the same way.
When we met, you were giving a pitch of evolutionary mining.
Yes, ma'am.
And I put a label on you that I really like. And I know we're not supposed to do such things, but I don't mind breaking rules where it helps. Do you remember the label?
Yeah, Canary of the coal mine.
Canary of the Earth's coal mine. So when I heard your story, I was definitely impacted by it. Um, you're in West Virginia. I grew up in Wyoming. Coal mining is a real thing. Uh, in my high school, uh, even today, there is enough work that will make a good living inside the mines, inside the plants. Wyoming is very resource rich, not a lot of people, but plenty of resources and a lot of antelope, more antelope than there are people. Um, but because of that, uh, I have a lot of friends that graduated high school and went straight in to working underground, straight into it because they didn't, for a lot of reasons. The money was definitely attractive. Like it wasn't a bad paying job by any means
Yeah,
in Wyoming, at
definitely.
least. Um, but at their ages, and even at when I was their age, uh, it's always troubled me that there was always such a high price and a high risk component. Um, Shortly after meeting in person, you sent me some footage that was enough to make it really hard to sleep a lot. And it was of a miner who had been trapped. Can you share that news story?
Yeah. I was a miner here in West Virginia, down in Logan County. That I don't know all the particulars of the story, but they was cutting coal, and they hit some water when they hold into an old mining shaft, and all the water came into that section, and it was actually the boss. He actually surrendered his life to save his crew, and that's what happened. Like he made sure everybody got out, and he died in the process being a hero. And those are the risks that we face every day being a coal miner. Is that job is just like the men and women that put their life on the line to defend our country. Um, and any of those natural resources jobs like oil and gas, coal mining, they're all the backbone of America. And a lot of blue collar workers don't get the pom poms and the pat on the back like we should.
Right. No, I agree. And I honestly don't think that many people really understand that these environments still exist, that there are still people going underground. And I mean, you showed your backpack, impossible to clean because of the dust that comes through. I think there's this illusion or delusion that everybody's safe now. True or false?
That is an illusion. I think since the advances of coal mining has been in the point that we try to be safer and we are safer, and injuries and severe tragedies have lessened through over the years, but it's still been outdated since the last 85 years. The same concept has been repeated over and over and over and over again, especially when it comes into the continuous mining section. Now, in the long wall part of mining, they have so many different advances to make it more faster, more efficient. But when it comes to the continuous mining section, those processes are still the same. And this is why innovation like the Hivenator 1247 is so important into that and that space in the continuous mining space.
So, when we met, I asked you because really you were about one of maybe three that understood why I was calling you Canary, because you sure don't look like a little bird, right? They really
Right.
didn't understand why I labeled you the canary in the coal mine. What is the history of the canary in the coal mine?
But Canary was the first gas detection system that was ever existed when they first started mining back in when late 1800s. You know, so the
Well,
Canary will
longer.
actually
Yeah.
longer. The
Uh-huh.
Canary will actually detect the methane, and when it die, it was supposed to alert everyone to get out the mine safely. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with this introduce new, safer, new technology to say, hey, we can make this safer, we can make it more efficient, and try to get the right people around me to support this innovation.
So we did a lot of research, you and I, as we've met with various people all over the world. And some of those places, the human beings are the literal canaries. There are still places in the world where we wait until the human dies from the gas exposure to realize and evacuate the rest. How big of a deal is that?
Well, they have so many detections. Like you have methane detection, and when methane get over a certain percent, the safety procedure is to shut down the section to clear out, make sure we have the right ventilation to clear out faces. Um, the thing is, you can have a face ignition at the face when methane is over 1%, and that spark can cause an explosion. And this is why the number one um, fight is at the face, and that's what the air purification device is designed to do to, to eliminate those causes right at the face, right at the source, because that's where the most the highest concentration is at the face in every mine when you're cutting coal.
Define face.
The face is um, where the miner cuts. So like basically it's like one sheet of coal, and that part of the coal's face is the face of it because it's the front of it, right? So that's why it's called the face. So as the
Mhm.
miner cuts, it's cutting the seam, and they call that the face. So at that point, it's basically like the the picture is like the picture is like this, like a defensive line and the O line, and when they come together, they facing each other. It's like the point of attack. So that's where the mining operation, the mining machine, and the face meets and meets together right in the point of attack, and they call it the face. The
So
face.
all of the systems are intended to reduce the risk when the miner addresses the initial impact. Is that the right phrasing?
Right. You're there. So in the cutting process, you be
Yeah.
cutting the coal, and as the coal get cut, it breaks down and it releases gas, methane and coal dust. And those are the two points that the most those are the 2 points that kills coal miners. Like you got black lung for that gets inside the lung, and then you have methane explosion. Methane exposure can cause a spark can cause a methane explosion. So the let me repeat that. The methane
Yeah.
exposure can cause methane explosion when it's a spark, especially when it's high methane. So anything over a percent can cause a spark. With a spark, a dull bit, you got a spark, and therefore you have an explosion. It could be
Mm,
loud explosion or it could be a soft explosion. A face
yeah.
ignition is a face ignition. So having an air purification device built inside of the continuous mining machine will actually pull right in the cutting process. So it will pull it, so it will eliminate those risks. And also the air purification device adds more air for concentration. Like you remember when me and Bill had that conversation at Kendall, and he was like,
Yeah.
um, what what the sea of film you gonna bring through the monitor, and how you gonna do it in case if you have a lack of air in that phase system. And we will provide that extra air by with our exhaust. And that's something that we're going to improve here in the near in a couple of weeks.
Okay. So for lay people, never been underground in a coal, never grown up around coal mining, describe the day of a coal miner.
The day of a coal miner is unique. Everybody experience is different. You have in by, you have out by, but in the in by where I work, everyone comes to the dinner table. They get a little cookie break and they go over their safety procedures. Where are we cutting at? Um, where the last crew left off, you know, and where we gonna start and how much footage that the team that we want to accomplish. And then we start going to the miner, checking our sprays, our bits, um, making sure our parameters is up to par. We have enough air at the face, enough water pressure, and our supplies. And then we start cutting coal. And then now that process where it can be very interesting because you can run into some bad top. You have rocks falling down on you. You can run into high methane. Was that exposure to high methane with a spark has to be um, something you have to be aware about. So every 40 feet, you need to be dusting, running your water spray. I mean, dusting, watering, and also um, checking your gas every 20 minutes. So those are the procedures of being a coal miner. And then you have the unfortunate tragic events that can happen, like a roof collapse and a miner get pinned, or a rib come in on someone and that's one pinned, or a simple strap get caught up in the bond and cut someone's finger off, or um, someone because we rotate shifts and someone could take a wrong turn and crash into a rib and stuff like that that you can't be prepared for because those
Right.
risks that we deal with, we have to face with. So we have to make sure we checking our roof and rib and making sure we're not walking in an area where it's unsupported. Keep our gas detector on us and be prepared for a case of an emergency.
Let me ask you why this hasn't been fixed yet.
I get asked this question all the time. I think
I bet.
we in a
Well,
position.
let me add to that the fact that we know just the black lung and other just dust related diseases. That's directly attributable to more than 75,000 miners dying since 1970. So with that heavy of a death count, why is it not on everybody's lips that this has to be dealt with?
I think we at a time right now where innovation is changing, right? More technology. So
Mm-hmm.
when the first continuous miner and was built, it was innovation, right? Because nobody never did
Yeah,
that.
right.
But when they put the first continuous miner machine, they was using picks and shovels to load
Uh-huh.
coal. And just
Right.
like we spoke with J.S. Fletcher, he was the first one to innovate the coal mine by putting bolting machines. So at that time, that was innovation. Now you got 85 years from later, it's the same process. Now the bolting equipment, both bolting and roof, is advancing, but the continuous mining machine is just getting bigger, faster, and it's cutting coal, but also causing those numbers that you just said. Because why? Because it's creating more dust, right? And
Right.
the old
Right.
style of ventilation, the old style of ventilation is the tubing system that can be damaged. So with these tubes, once they get damaged, it actually lose velocity. The more tubes that you put on the fan, the more velocity of air that you're losing. And if they damage, is you getting the dirty air into your clean air, and this is the cause of black lung, especially in those continuous mining sections. Now, technology today, we can prevent that. And we can prevent that by adding an air purification device in that process that helps clean. Now, that's a game changer. And this is what evolutionary mining is opposing to the coal industry. And that too, I don't want to put our industry that I love in a bad light. And that's something I'm not trying to do. I'm trying to put light on innovation that could change to make our industry more safer and the longevity of, the worker, of the hourly employee, right?
So I
So
appreciate that you're not willing to speak badly, but I will. So, according to the data, the current standard dust controls, which include, let me know if I've missed anything, water sprays, scrubbers, foam, and chemical suppressants, achieve less than 50% efficiency for respirable dust, especially the finest particles that are the cause of the lung disease. That's not success in my book. And not to say that there is a lack of care, but perhaps there is a lack of a larger understanding that this is still an ongoing issue. I think that there are many of us who have never even contemplated going underground every day for our job that don't understand the working conditions that still exist. And to make it worse, where you live and the coal mining in your area is twice as likely to cause black lung disease.
correct.
Miners in the Appalachian area are at a 20% victim rate as compared to 10%. I don't think that's coincidental.
Right.
I think it's terrifying. And I know that you've met with people inside of your state government and you've met with a lot of leaders. What is their take on this and how do we address it? Because if it's causing, think about it, if it's causing that inside of a closed space, but we know, and Dr. Doris Taylor, who invented the artificial heart, that may save many of your friends that have this heart and lung disease that are directly correlated to these kinds of environmental toxins. If we don't solve this in a confined space, then how do we know what to do with the larger space? Like resolving air quality issues in an obviously contaminated space surely leads to advances that make all of our air less contaminated, all of our air more breathable. Those contaminants, they're going to become a bigger problem. If we ignore them, we get bigger problems.
Correct. And that goes back to what I
What's the
said
response?
before. The to reiterate what I've just said is now we're living in an era where technology can be used and implemented in this confined space where we can now say, how can we make this better? Right. And this is what
Right?
evolutionary mining is standing in the gap, because this is not innovation from a person that's sitting in the office, right?
Yeah.
Designing these things to cut coal. This is innovation from a miner by a miner that actually experienced it. And I actually experienced these situations that I came up with. So I develop a system that will actually help us do our job more safer, more efficient, to help with those numbers
Mhm.
that you just stated. And the thing is that we have to get the right officials to support this innovation, to put the money behind it, to put the research together to help me to bring forth the ideal that I'm trying to bring forth, saying this can work mathematically. This also can save lives. And now we're putting together a prototype to prove and validate everything that I just said. And that's why we have patent pending, a utility patent that says that this can be done.
Tell me about the meetings that you've had with public officials, especially in the area where there's a um, high number of mines. What has been their response?
Well, everyone, like, I met with a couple gentlemen. I actually went to um, uh, a Republican Party, and Senator Chris Rose. He's a fourth generation miner, and he was very
Oh,
excited
interesting.
about what I'm trying to accomplish. I believe everyone that hears about this innovation, they just want to see, can it be done. So the thing is getting the right people like him and our governor and uh, the right officials in MSHA and environmental protection, NIOSH, to say, let's take a look at what he's doing and see if we how can we contribute to that success. And at the end of the day, what does it hurt to improve the mining industry, right? So this is what the Hivenator 1247 is about. And also the AI implication, which is a game changer, because now you have a miner that can detect depth of the coal seam. It can also detect the ground. And they also have situations where you can cut on sites and you know exactly where you're cutting, because now the mining machine helps you in that regard. And also with the air purification device, we're doing two things at once. So we're protecting the miners, everyone that's working around the mining machine, and also cleaning the air at the same time. It's a beautiful and wonderful technology that we're trying to introduce into the coal mine industry, and we will. And it will be a game changer. And I believe once we prove it, it's going to help a lot of people, not only in our industry, but all mining industries. And this
It
application will
seems
be
like
used in others
Senator
as well.
Rose would be an ideal advocate for you. He identifies himself, like you say, as a fourth generation coal miner, is from West Virginia's southern coal fields, and he calls himself West Virginia's blue collar conservative.
He's fighting hard for the coal mining and saving the coal
Love that.
mining industry. Like, yeah.
So, Brandon, as you look at the opportunities, put it in the context of So I think it's obvious that the air quality is bad. Like that's hard to argue with, right? Nobody wants to
Right.
breathe coal in their lungs. That seems like that should be a given. Um, from a why do this perspective, we've got the save lives, we've got the increased efficiency. What if we don't do it? What are the
That's a great
risks
question.
that we take by not taking action?
It's going to be twofold. I think our industry, especially as we see when when the politics get involved, right? You get one party come in and they say, well, coal mining is a dying industry, so we need to get in a position where we can have safer and more cleaner solutions for the environment. So if we don't take proactive to introduce new technology into the coal mining industry, like I'm trying to do, we can we'll be at a lose of our industry, right? I think it will start being phased out, especially in the years to come. And this is what I'm trying to prevent, because this is the argument I'm trying to convey, that capturing methane is also another revenue that the coal mine can benefit. Instead of wasting that methane into your return, if you can capture some of that methane, and now that's a renewable energy, what's hot, you can turn methane to hydrogen, and hydrogen is more safer, more cleaner for the environment. So now you sell that to hydrogen for feedstock, and now you have a more safer, more efficient um, gas to burn for the environment. So this is how not only the coal mine can say we taking the preventable measures for our employees to make it more safer underground, but we trying to also make it more safe and efficient above ground so we can burn more cleaner. So this is how the coal can actually go green. It's a beautiful concept, and no
Imagine
one
that.
has
Yeah.
never done it
So I
before.
think it's really interesting.
That's beautiful.
So it occurred to me, is this a bipartisan issue? Is there a Democratic side? Is there a Republican side? And as I'm looking at your area, it seems to be a pretty consistently shared position that action needs to be taken. Tell me if you heard or met with any of these people: Tim Kaine of Virginia, Mark Warner of Virginia, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Bob Casey of Pennsylvania, Sherrod Brown of Ohio, and Joe Manchin of West Virginia have all sponsored or co-sponsored versions of the Black Lung Benefits Improvement Act to modernize and strengthen the federal Black Lung program.
No, I haven't met any of those gentlemen
Might be
yet.
worth chatting with. In the House, uh, Democrat champions for the same include Representative Bobby Scott, Representative Morgan Markovey, Scott of Virginia, and McGarvey of Kentucky. Um, it seems to me that it might be one of those unicorns that Democrats and Republicans can both agree on needs to be funded.
I can agree with that. And that's the thing. Like, that's why we in a unique space of proving this system. And us building this prototype will be in a position so we can prove it. And once we prove it, I think those people that you just mentioned will support it. I think they will get behind it. And the real test is putting it on the ground and see how it actually works, and getting the industry to actually see it working. Because you can do tests above ground, but you want you want experience the real thing to it's actually underground, and that's what I'm um, trying to do. Trying to get the first prototype underground to prove exactly what I'm saying, and it will happen.
Lay that out. Like you need a coal mine that will install the system.
Correct.
Walk me through what needs to happen.
Well, need to have. So right now we will be in a position of building a prototype. We will be working those numbers out, and then getting the right um, people to come in and do their own testing, like MSHA, Department of Environmental Protection, to test, to make sure, to validate the proof of concept. And then once that happened, transition into building a complete version of the Hivenator 1247, because we downsized it just to focus on the air purification device at the moment. And then build out the whole continuous mining machine. And then hopefully we can get a, a large manufacturer like we talked to help us get in a position to market it and produce it, to mass produce it and get it on the ground. And they suggested a couple coal mines that will be interested of bringing this underground. So the first concept is like you always told me, it's like chewing an elephant, one bite at a time. So it's about staying 3 foot focused on what we got to accomplish, and that's
Yes.
proving the concept, and then scaling it from there. And that's what I like to accomplish. And on top of that, I will also like to get attention of other coal mines to start getting in a position where they say, "Hey, we'll take it, we'll try it, and we'll try it," and we have. Then that's how we can scale and grow our company, and then start producing this machine worldwide. And this is not only domestic, but this is a global company, and we're trying to save lives globally. And then transition our market once we proven and seasoned in underground, then we can transition to other mining like lithium, um,
Mhm.
gold, and any other salt, any other industry that has poor ventilation.
Very powerful. Okay. So as we wrap, I want you to close your eyes again. I'm going to read to you your vision of legacy and your hope. You say you want um, to be remembered for the work and for others to be able to say he continued the fight. He pushed innovation where the world didn't expect it and made space where there was none. That your final legacy chapter is rooted in faith. Say, I want to be remembered not only as an inventor, but as a man of God who used his gifts to serve others. Someone who walked by faith when the path was unclear, who trusted the vision even when resources were scarce, and who built something that protected God's children underground and uplifted communities above it. My story is one of purpose, perseverance, and divine alignment, proof that when God gives you an idea, he also gives you the strength to turn it into a blessing for the world. Now, before you open your eyes, I want you to think, what would you say to those that would have the ability to assist you to also be guides for God's children underground? What do they need to hear from you to be able to bring them into this powerful mission?
Forgive me. Sorry.
No.
Uh, that just moved me. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It's moving. I agree with you.
I work with some. I work with some amazing men and women on the ground, and I'm so blessed. And I talked to a couple gentlemen that called me last week, and they were just checking in on me and my progress. And I left one of the biggest coal mine companies in 2022 to when I came up with this idea. And a lot of my coworkers said, "Hey man, we wish you luck, and hopefully one day we can see this underground."
Yeah.
And and I stepped out on faith. I was one of the hardest decisions. You know, I've been battling some health issues. Um, I've been diagnosed with coronary heart spasms and congestive heart failure, and I can no longer do my job that I love. That I worked on the ground. You know, I've seen a lot of men and women put their life on the line for their family and for the American people. Suffer, right? I've seen people, you know, die doing something they love and retire, and then you get in a position where you don't even have health care no more, right?
Right.
Used to have lifetime health care, and they took that from you. So now you work 30 years on the ground to support your family. You're in a position where you don't have health care. You gotta pay for that out of pocket. Now the money that you saved up in your 401k to retire, a lot of that is going into your health insurance, and then now you got diagnosed with black lung,
Yeah.
and now you're on a breathing apparatus or on oxygen. A
Mhm.
lot of men and women die shortly after, and I've seen a lot of good
Right.
men doing it. And I have 5 children, and I realized sitting in the hospital bed 2022 that that could happen to me one day. And God gave me this idea, and it came to me in a dream, and I couldn't ignore it. And I felt like this is something that's it's more than myself to support like the men and women that do my job. And I felt like it was a calling, and I had to see it through. So to answer your question, what people can do to help me is support. Put me in, support us so we can prove this technology, so we can introduce it into our industry to save lives and change the industry, the way people look at the industry, right? We went from an era where the coal mine industry was beloved because it was supporting the American people and the backbone of it. Now we looked at as the redheaded stepchild, like the boogeyman, for
Yeah.
doing something to put food on our table, but so people can swipe on their phones every day, so people can enjoy their electricity. And I think a lot of people just don't understand how they take things for granted. And it's real people putting their life on the line. And this is in all industries. And I think we should protect those people that put their life on the line, like coal miners, like guys that work in the oil field, iron industries, or military. You know, those people are important. And this
Agree.
innovation can change lives to the point that it will save a lot of people and a benefit of the healthcare system too as well, because this is a like $40 billion hit on our healthcare costs that could be reduced once proven.
Makes sense.
And then you have maybe set of 3 out of 4 coal miners have black lung, maybe 1 out of 50. We never know. But this is something that need to be looked at and need to be taken serious, and it need to be supported. And I hope the American people and our government will support this innovation and support evolutionary mining and support um, Brandon Hives. Because one thing about America, this is God country. And this is a God company. So we support our own, and that's what I'm trying to implement. That's
What have
all.
your friends said?
They sound brave
You
because
are.
I put everything on the line to the point where um, I'm at my friend's house now. Him and his wife, extending their home to me because I couldn't renew my lease because of financial uh, bonds. But I put every dime into this, and they also invest it was like the first investors to believe in me when I came up with this concept. And I'm so thankful for all my friends, Corey, um, Michael Bigelow, Rudy, and I'm so thankful for meeting Vince that led me to meeting you, that led me to meeting Doris Taylor and everybody, especially in the Warrior Sage community that has been supporting me. And it's such a blessing to be sitting here because Evolutionary Mining I started a year ago, and God met me, sent me the right people to, and it's like a dream come true. So every day I wake up with faith, like I'm walking out my dream, and that's all that matters. That's how I feel.
Okay, let me ask you one question, one last question. Um, I don't know where it comes from, but there's this saying that is popping into my head of when we reach heaven and we meet the Father and the Son, what they say to us. And in my family and in my culture, it's well done, thou good and faithful
Service.
servant. Yeah. What do you, I think we share this faith wise that God is a very personal God,
Correct.
and that as a father, he sees our needs and he sees our purpose, not just our needs, but he's called us to a mission, right?
Right.
And he's built us. He's built us through some serious fires to be able to take on that mission. If you could set that little imposter syndrome aside for a second and you could envision yourself at the end of this life having achieved free breathing for your brothers underground. That's all you accomplish. Let's just say that's it, even though that's not true. But let's say that was the mission assigned to you on this earth and you succeed. What words come to you?
Walk by faith and not by sight. You know, and I hope you tell me just what you just said. Good job, my faithful servant. Because you have a great testimony. You tell me your story, and it's so wonderful, and all the obstacles that you overcame, especially when it comes to your health issues as well. And it was at one point you said that they said that you will never talk again, right? And here you are talking, using your voice, you know, doing what you do best, and you speak so eloquent. I remember the first time that you talked to me, I said, "Oh wow, you maybe I need you to help me pitch." But yeah, I think we all, and I want to be so intentional. I say for me, my faith is in, in Yeshua, and my faith is implemented on the principle of the Bible. But a lot of people have different gods and different religions, and
It
that's
all
okay.
works out the same, I think.
Right?
Whatever your faith is, when you live it
They
and you
all
love it,
yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
it doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. If you've lived in faith,
Right?
I think that you'll be rewarded and you'll be blessed.
Yes, ma'am. And that's all you can do. And when God give you something, He give it some. He gave everybody something. And just a lot of people, our life, and we go through so many things that we ignore it, or we receive it and then we share it, and other people turn it down, like oh that would never work, or you can't do that, and then we get fear, and a lot of people don't reach their potential. But once you step out on that faith and say, I'm gonna try it. And I've been diving into all entrepreneurs, right, from every different background.
Yeah,
And
you have.
they all started their goal into sacrificing, you know, money, time to start a company. And it's hard. Now I
Really hard.
understand being an hourly employee is a lot easier than actually being in the road of entrepreneurship.
So much, yeah.
So yeah, it's all about faith, and it's all about walking in sight. And then hopefully when that time comes, I will make my father happy. And he said, "You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You walked in integrity. You kept my commandments, and you inspired those around you to not by your words but by your actions." And that's the best way to preach. I think a lot of people in today's they do a lot of preaching, but their actions don't meet what they're saying. So
Yeah,
I
I
just try to
agree.
demonstrate exactly what I want to accomplish and hope that reaches people. And so when they look at my life and I have this legacy, they say, well, he walked it and he did it. And I'm a
Yeah,
flawed man. I make mistakes, and we all do. But you embrace that and you just keep going. Nobody
yeah.
perfect.
I think that's my favorite thing about you is you walk the talk and you live it. And your loyalties are solid. I see it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
You too.
These are the voices rising through time. Truth in the rhythm, fire in the line. From silence to signal, from echo to flame. Legends don't whisper, they rise with a name. Voices of legends. This is the UpCast. 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 Voices of legends. This is the UpCast.